All right, let's go to my main man, Danny Segura here. He is the, let's see. Hold on, let me see if I got, you were Lime to Chicharron last week, right?
Yes.
So let me see if I can think of another one. You are the tres to my leches. How about that?
I wonder how long you're going to keep this up.
As long as I can. All right, so here's the deal. If Volkanovski gets back to us, we just quit this and we go to him, yes?
Yeah, that sounds good.
But in the meantime, let's do some calls.
Okay.
I want to hear from the donks. And by the way, could it be more appropriate that I am the world's leading mouth breather while I hear from all of our mouth breathing audience members? Yes?
Yep.
All right. I love your enthusiasm. It is palatable.
Let's do it. Sorry.
Very high energy.
It was a rough weekend. Game of Thrones kept me up a little bit.
I hear.
You don't watch it, right?
Again, not that I have anything against it, but no.
It was a pretty intense episode. I would just say that.
Hey, I heard the mountain died. Oh, is that a spoiler?
Of course.
Well, the mountain died.
All right, prepare for some Twitter hate going your way.
That would be new, I'm sure.
Yeah, rest in peace, man.
All right, so what's up? Let's do some calls.
All right, let's get it. Let's talk about the strawweight fight that happened, title fight, and sort of the things that came out of it.
Okay.
Morning, Luke and Danny. Connor from Jersey by way of Seattle here. Wanted to say I deeply appreciate the show, your content, and the tenor of discourse. Keep at it. I'll be watching. My question is, with the Andrade title win, does Joanna now have an open door for another title shot? If not, what path leads her back to 115 gold? Thanks.
Yeah, I don't see that as likely right now. There are other women who are way, way more deserving than Joanna Jędrzejczyk.
Yep.
She's got some work to do. I'm not saying she's super far away.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what we really want to go to? Or do you want to see fresh matchups like Suarez or, God knows whoever else?
The Boogie Woman, man.
You do want to see her?
Yeah, but not now. But I do think I think Joanna's in an interesting spot because, look, I think she's very, very good. I just think Rose, just has her number, and that's just the way MMA works sometimes. But I think if you take Rose out of the equation, Joanna would probably hold on to the title, I think. So I would like to see her in that mix eventually. I think maybe a win away would actually be quite adequate. If you want to throw in their Karate Hottie, I'm completely fine with that. The winner between Tatiana Suarez and Nina Ansaroff, I'm down for that too. But I guess just to keep the train rolling, since Watterson doesn't have any fights lined up, I think she should be next.
Really?
But yeah, well, why not? Let's just keep the division going.
Yeah, that's right. I think if she comes back quickly, I think that's fine. That's right.
Yeah, because Watterson right now is without a fight. I think the rightful person that should be fighting would be Tatiana Suarez if she wins, of course. But again, she has to win, and then she has time to rest, then time for a training camp where Watterson can start training camp right now. So. Yeah. But, I do like Joanna in that mix. And I think with Rose perhaps leaving MMA and certainly now not being champion, I think that just opened a huge opportunity for
her. You're pumped for that Ferguson versus, sorry, what am I saying? The Pettis versus Diaz fight.
Oh, yeah. Oh, by the way, I'm going to be so pissed if Embedded doesn't catch Duke Rufus imitating Nate Diaz. How great would that be?
Oh, dude, that was so funny.
Yeah,
209,
hilarious. Yeah,
what is 209?
Yeah.
That's so great. That's so great. All right.
That's hilarious.
Well, look, let's get back to the calls. I didn't even ask you before. What did people care about Bellator this weekend? What do you think?
Yeah, they did.
So,
I think it was more actually centered around Lima and Jack Swagger's.
Listen to my nose. Ready? Let's do some ASMR.
No. Oh, God.
This is what I'm living with all day. All day. All right.
You're the worst. All right. Let's see. By the way, do you want to talk about that slam, or do you feel like you've covered
Let's
it?
Talk about it because I want to get some other perspectives.
Okay, cool. So let's discuss that.
Hey, Luke. This is Joey from Woodbridge, Virginia.
Oh, Woodbridge.
I just want to know, what did you think about that slam from Andrade? Did you think that's a spike? When I first saw it, I kind of thought it was a spike. I thought it was going to be a disqualification. So I just want to get your take on it. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, so it definitely was a spike. It's just one of the ones that the rules carve out an exception for. I tried to pitch my case to you. The essence of MMA is allowing for things like this, especially when there isn't this clear and present danger about injury. Not that there's not a risk, but it's not like eye gouging, right? It's not the exact same thing. So what did you make of my argument? Where are you in all of this?
So I feel like some people in MMA like just right off the bat they take a strong stance on whatever subject or question is being brought up. I'm right in the middle where I'm like kind of hearing all sides and then still developing an idea about it, a standpoint. What I would say is I think I'm more towards allowing slams. However, they can be pretty dangerous, but I mean, so is a lot of things in MMA. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
The whole point about MMA is to encourage it.
exactly, the whole point of MMA is to destroy
A person.
exactly.
Right.
And yeah, it sounds brutal, but I mean, it is a brutal sport.
This is the business we have chosen.
Exactly, this is the hurt business. So, look, I think some should be slammed. I mean, some should be banned. If you look at, for example, remember when like Bob Sapp slammed Minotauro, where it was just like straight on the neck, like he just picked them up like from the double position.
Yeah. But
Like
he also had a 100-pound weight advantage,
That is true.
right?
Yeah.
Big difference.
Yeah, I don't feel comfortable watching that because it can lead to a pretty serious injury. Like like I'm not saying CTE is like no big deal or anything like that, but like you can paralyze somebody. That's like that's really really bad. So I don't really know where I stand on it. I feel like some slams should be illegal, but I want to look into it a little more. But overall, I think slamming should be part of MMA.
Yes, there should be rules about
Yeah.
slamming, but we should understand the more rules you create, the more creativity and valuable techniques you eliminate, which is why I tried to show in the Carl
That's true.
Parisian footage. And then also, I think Chael Sonnen's key insight about you take the things that are illegal and you make them legal so that people don't have a space to hide in their composite sports. That is what we are about here. And I just feel like, yes, you want to take danger seriously. So make a carve out. You can't do it but for this submission. Fine. I'm good with I can live with that. I can live with that completely. I think it's a
for
great
sure.
compromise.
All right, now let's discuss a different point of view about that fight.
Hey, good morning, guys. This is Charles Jalen calling out of Atlanta, Georgia. My question is about Rose. Do you think it's a good thing that Rose did not win on Saturday night for the UFC and fighting fans? Not personally, because Rose is a very, very likable champion, very honorable, and for what she stands for.
Yep.
But with her feeling that fighting is no longer passion, and she doesn't know if she's going to keep doing this, do you think it's a good thing? Not personally, but a good thing for the UFC and fighting fans who love, consistent defending champions. Is it a good thing that she did not win? Thanks for taking my call. Enjoy the rest of your day.
All right, Mr. Yalen, that guy, he's an OG. He's been calling since day one.
He is a great man.
Yeah, shouts out to that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, where do you stand on that? Was it ultimately maybe a good thing that Rose Namajunas lost her belt because afterwards she didn't really, I don't know. She wasn't too keen on continuing her MMA career. It's kind of up in the air.
Yeah, so when I pre-recorded my interview with her, one of the things that we ran into was that, I was told that she wasn't feeling great, and I was like, "Oh, is she sick?"
Yeah.
And they're like, "No, she's just, she's just dealing with a lot." Now, what that means, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. Look, here's the thing: you have to have a certain constitution to be a fighter, and you have to have yet another constitution to be a champion. It's one thing to be the person who is seeking out challenges, and it's another thing to be the person who is the challenge. And I think that pressure she didn't like. I don't think she's ever really liked it, but I think she especially didn't like it. And so I'm not going to say it's necessarily good because there's all kinds of different realities you could imagine for somebody that we could entertain. I guess the only thing I would say is if you're not right for that kind of a role, which is a leadership role to a degree, you shouldn't be in it. And so maybe if the fates played out like they were supposed to in some kind of capacity.
Yeah. And I think ultimately it is something good for the UFC because if you're going to invest, media and PR and you're going to invest a lot in someone, you would want them to stick around, right?
Yeah.
They don't want to build up a champion and then have that champion just be like, hey, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. I'm out. So I guess in a way, if you look at it that way, it is kind of good for the UFC. But
you and I are in the same boat. We never look at a fight and be like, oh, it'd be awesome if this person lost.
Yeah.
We kind of be like, if they lose, they lose. If they win, they win. It's just, we'll just make an adjustment from there.
Exactly. Yeah. But something I do want to point out, and I feel like I kind of get this sense from Rose is like, look, she's 26. She started fighting at a very, very early age. the things that you're into in your early 20s, and then, when you start getting closer to 30, you change as a person, right? You become an adult.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe, her priorities change as well, I don't really think it's also like, oh, she's going through something, like something must be wrong.
No.
Dude, sometimes...
You know what she's going through, Danny? Life.
Exactly.
Life. That's
Dude.
it.
I mean, I don't know if you can remember, but if you go back like from your teens, your late teens and your early 20s,
God.
back when you were 26, you're a completely different person.
Bro, I thought Third Eye Blind was a good band when I was a sophomore. I mean, what a stupid person I am, right? So, there you go.
So, yeah, we'll see what happens with Rose. Hopefully whatever she decides to do next, she's happy in, and that's all we can wish her.
I just want to smoke some of the marijuana that she grows in her garden.
Yeah, I saw a picture like a while ago. It's still a very small plant. I don't think there's any nuggets. I don't know if maybe anything has changed. All right, let's switch topics into something, a little bit more sad that happened this weekend. So,
let me guess, BJ Penn?
Yeah, how'd you know?
Saddest shit on earth.
Yeah, man, it was
Hey,
terrible.
Luke and Danny. My name's Austin. I'm from Fort Meade, Maryland, around your neck of the woods. Question for you is, BJ Penn has lost 7 in a row, hasn't won a fight since 2010 through 9 years. Is this the chance for the commission to finally step in and tell fighters no? I know there was the Chuck Liddell, Tito Ortiz fight, but a guy like BJ Penn fighting under the UFC, this is very high profile. I feel like this is a time to where the commission can step in and do the right thing. Thanks for taking my call. Appreciate it, guys.
First of all, before we answer that question, what did you think of BJ Penn's performance? It was a tricky one.
I didn't think it was that tricky.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, he was fighting a Clay Guida who's also who's towards the end of his career. Not a bad fighter, but not.
Yeah.
This is not a prime fighter by any stretch of the imagination, right? So, yeah, I thought it was. I mean, look, what you're asking me that he looked better than he had in his previously utterly lifeless performances. Yes, he looked better than he had in his previously lifeless performances. Here's the thing I don't like doing, Danny. What's one reason, for example, why I do the Monday morning analyst? Because I'm not picking on fighters who lost. I want to celebrate fighters who won.
Yes.
Right? That's the whole idea about it. Wow, look how great this was. I don't take joy in saying this. This is nothing I get pleasure out of. I'm not going to sleep later on being like, yeah, I really stuck it to BJ. Somebody in his inner circle and in his life needs to tell him to stop. This is unethical. If you are in his inner circle and you are not telling him to stop, you are party to an unethical act. This is bad. This is very, 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 very bad. And it's going to get worse before it gets better. And this whole bit about you can never tell another person to retire is just, you are morally abdicating your responsibility when you say something like that. And folks will be like, well, you want to be careful about it. Of course you do. But let's look at the facts, Danny. The longest losing streak in UFC history is now occupied by a man who, when I was a fan of the sport before I got into this full time,
one of the greatest fighters ever, dude.
Okay, had the best jab, had the best takedown defense, had some of the best jiu-jitsu, and you could not hurt him. You could not rock him or even physically mark him. We are so far past that at this point, it's hard to stay even where we are anymore. You have a responsibility, if you are media, to speak out. No more doing interviews with this guy and being like, well, do you feel like you could win your next one? It has to stop. Somebody has got to stand up and say, enough is enough. And I think the commission might at this point. I guess we'll have to say. But the point is, do you really, Danny, have to wait until you're at the longest losing streak of UFC history before you say something? Gil, this was viewable a long time ago.
Yeah.
We have just let it drag out. Forget all the troubles that are happening in his private life. I don't even know what the truth is with that. It's all allegations. We'll see what happens. But everything that happens in that octagon now, if you are part of that, you are morally complicit in this act. Yeah. And you have to own it now.
Yeah, I'm with you. I still feel like if he wanted to fight, I wouldn't be, look, I don't want it, but I wouldn't be 100% opposed to it. But something that this question brought up and I think is important was, remember when Chuck Liddell got commissioned to fight, Tito Ortiz, the California State Athletic Commission said, the reason why we're allowing him to fight is because of the type of opponent he's facing, right? BJ Penn is in no way, in no shape to face UFC caliber opponents. And I think Clay Guida's still a UFC caliber guy. So with that being said, the commission does have the power to be like, look, you shouldn't be fighting these guys. If you want to continue fighting, all right, fight. Like, remember not so long ago, I think it was last year, Renzo Gracie at 51 fought somebody, some donk in one.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm okay with that. If you want to do that and let's say go to Bellator and just get super easy matchups, just get a few more fights in, fine, do it. But BJ's no longer UFC caliber. He hasn't been UFC caliber in a long time, and he's just gonna get hurt if he continues to be in there.
He's been getting hurt for years.
Yeah.
This is not new.
And I think something that makes me uncomfortable as well is like, there are certain fighters that are in pretty bad losing streaks, but they are in grip with the reality, right? They're like, yo, yeah, I know I'm in a pretty bad losing streak. I know this looks bad, but look, I want to give it one more try. I want to see how this goes. We didn't see. I think Guillermo Cruz talked to him, and he was like. He wasn't like, look, I think, I'm feeling great, but that Ryan Hall fight was so quick. I didn't get to display everything. I kind of just want to give it one more shot. Dude, he was talking about becoming a champion again.
Right. I mean, it's just
that's when you go, man, like your reality is not, it's kind of skewed,
It's like, yeah, you want to be a champion after the longest losing streak in UFC history?
Yeah.
I mean, is it possible? I suppose it's possible I could, deadlift 1,000 pounds after the show today, but seems relatively unlikely.
Yeah.
Just the last thing on this. MMA media don't want to say things like this a lot of times. Some of them do.
Mhm.
They don't want to say it for fear of like pissing off people, which I understand. It's really easy to criticize MMA media when you're not the person who has to talk to people's managers and agents and friends and coaches and trainers. It's very, very easy to say that. But on the other hand, dude, at some point, you got to do the right thing. And the responsible thing is if it is, I don't know what his inner circle is telling him. Maybe they're telling him to stop, and then he just keeps on going. Somebody in that space, if the media, whoever has a public platform, you have to stop being party to this. You have got to stop being party to this. You've got to say something. It is not okay that this continues.
Yeah.
It just isn't.
Yeah. I wonder when the UFC is going to step in, because we know how Dana White felt about Chuck Liddell and a few other fighters, and I don't feel like they're giving the same treatment to BJ. I don't know if they see something that we don't.
I don't know. I don't know. It's a great question. I don't know the answer to it.
Yeah, it's a weird one. All right, let's talk about Jack Swagger, your favorite WWE wrestler.
That was so weird. Yeah. I'm rock hard.
Hey guys, Providence, Rhode Island. I was just wondering what you guys thought about the Jack Swagger fight and how he held on to the choke after the referee told him to let go. Do you think he should be fined? Do you think he should be suspended? Do you think his win should be overturned to a no contest? What are your thoughts? I know in the past the UFC has even gotten rid of fighters or suspended them, I believe. What do you think? Bye.
So what happened was he's talking about Babalu Sobral, who did that to, I think it was David Heath.
I think he did it twice, right?
He might have done it twice, but the big one was he had really busted up David Heath. David Heath was a bloody mess. And then I think he hit him in an anaconda and then rolled through and then submitted him. And he didn't let go. And he held on until the guy went unconscious.
Yeah.
And so it was a bad look. So he either got fined by the organization or let go. I don't remember what happened, but that was a big one. I remember because I had a media fight with somebody else about it, which is another story.
I remember, I forgot what I saw, but something that covered it pretty extensively. And I think he had done it twice in the UFC. The first time he did it, he got into some heat, and I think the UFC was like, look, this is not cool, blah, 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 etc. And they let it slide. And then he did it the second time, and it was because his opponent was talking, what was his name again? David Heath?
I believe that was David Heath, yeah.
Yeah, he was talking mad smack, and Babalu took that personal.
Yeah,
and he's like, yo, I'm going to make you pay,
right,
bro.
He did.
Yeah, and he just held onto a choke and choked him out unconscious.
My whole thought on this was, is it the end of the world? It's not.
Yeah.
My thought is the commission should probably say something to him.
Yes.
I don't think he should be fined, and I definitely don't think he should be suspended, in part because you have to look at what happened, right? One of my arguments about the slam is if every time it happened, someone was getting destroyed, we would have to have a very careful conversation about it.
Yeah.
And while there are health risks associated with it and dangers, no doubt about it, I think we have to have a sober assessment of the health outcomes here. Same thing with this choke. What was the health outcome? I mean, it was not great, but it wasn't the end of the world.
Yeah.
So he should just be probably lectured, and that's the end of it. My only thought was, like, dude, that's the guy you want to flex on? You know? The beat, what'd they call him on Twitter? Beef plant?
No, I saw Post Malone references. Yeah. He kind of does look like Post Malone, man. He just needs like the little.
Yeah, he needs some face tattoos like stitches.
Yeah. You should actually get that. Always tired, I think he has underneath his eyes.
What you gonna do, shorty? All right. Okay, God. Now you put that in my head, and all I can think about is him fighting Post Malone. Good Lord, that is hilarious. Yeah, it's not that big a deal. It's honestly, I mean, it's not great. It's not that big a deal.
I do think the commission should say something.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely.
Yeah, they have to let other fighters know, like, look, this is not cool. You can't.
No, you cannot. Once the referee puts his hands on you, it's time to let go.
It's done.
And this whole bit about, like, I wanted to make sure, okay, I mean, stop it. This is not a valid excuse. You know. Especially because the referee has the rubber gloves, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So in any case, the only thing was afterwards, where he talked about, well, I can't even say because, people work in this. It's a work
Just
environment.
Go look up the post-fight interview if you're listening. To this.
It's like that was one of the weirdest things I'd ever seen.
Yeah,
ever.
Yeah.
He looked like he did the right things. He had good wrestling, I guess, but he's out there fighting. Guys you see on Post Malone on Rough and Rowdy on Barstool.
Yeah, but that's what you do with I guess prospects or guys who are just
it's a fine way to match him up. It's just a weird way to act.
Yeah,
burn through him and then be on your way.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to talk about something cool or something sad?
Cool.
All right. Let's talk about Douglas Lima then. He had a pretty nice finish.
Yeah, he did.
Luke, it is Joshy Fresh from San Diego, and I want to talk about Douglas Lima versus MVP. Can we just talk about the timing of that kick and that uppercut that knocked Michael Venom back to last week? Man, I wish he would fight in the UFC. Thanks.
Yeah, dude. The presence of mind that Douglas Lima has, and then the accuracy in a chaotic, weird moment like that, he's so good.
Super good.
Yeah, and he's never going to be Mr. Popular. He's never going to be the homecoming king.
Mm-hmm.
He even was like, yeah, the money's nice, but I really want to be champion. I believe him.
Yeah.
I believe him,
Yeah, he's one of those old school guys that, like, they fight because they really love it, and you can tell that guy's really passionate about fighting. So, yeah, the money's nice. I'm sure he wants to have that, but he really cares about being one of the best welterweights in the world, and, boy, that finish definitely proved that. I tweeted, this is like something from Tekken. Like, dude, it was insane. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
great finish.
I tweet about it all the time. I was like, Douglas Lima is probably better than your favorite fighter. There's a decent chance, whoever that is, he might be better.
You think we ever see him in the UFC, or he's just a Bellator?
I think he's probably a Bellator guy. He looks to me like a guy who, I'm going to say the word simple. I don't mean in his brain.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think he's been loyal to Bellator. They've been loyal to him. He's had a great career with them. He's a valuable asset to Bellator. He's never going to be the guy who, is going to make a gazillion headlines, but he's such a valuable asset in terms of, saying you've got one of the best welterweights in the world. And man, if he wins that tournament,
100%. And as a product, he improves the Bellator product. Like we see some fights that you're like, bro, this fight sucks. But like when Douglas Lima's fighting, like you tune in. You know what I'm saying? That guy puts on great fights. So he definitely improves the Bellator product.
All right, next.
Yeah. All right. Sad or happy?
Happy.
All right.
Hey guys, it's Rick from Toronto. I'm just wondering if you guys think Cowboy taking this Tony fight with such a quick turnaround is cause for concern, and also if you think this was the right fight to make. I think a lot of people expected Conor versus Cowboy and maybe Tony versus Gaethje, so I think it was surprising for some people. Anyways, thanks guys. Take care.
I love this fight so much more.
Love it?
Love it. Love it. Love it. I think let's look at the breakdown here. Yeah, it'd be great for Conor to give some of the shine to Cowboy, of course. Here's the deal, though. If you're a Cowboy, you get what you get. You beat Tony Ferguson, that's the best one of your career, full stop, number one.
100%.
And it would probably put him in a title position afterwards as well. Certainly pretty close.
100%.
Right?
You have to, dude.
Yeah, and if you're Tony, it's about as good a reintroduction to that. We would say, like, who's Tony going to fight? This is a great reintroduction because Cowboy's coming off that Iaquinta win, which is maybe the best win of his lightweight campaign, certainly. And so if you get that, you're now thrust to the top of that division. By the way, action on the ground, yes. Action on the floor, yes. Action in between, yes. Like, there's very little to dislike here. And people are like, who should Conor fight? There's a very simple answer. Justin Gaethje. He should fight Justin Gaethje. The MMA's most popular fighter versus MMA's most violent. Tell me what's wrong with that. So tell me why that's not the fight to make.
I don't know, man. I don't
forget about what he
I
would
don't
take.
like it because I feel
forget
like
about what he would take.
What do you mean?
Don't protect Conor.
Okay,
Make
see,
tough
I'm in the
fights for
business
tough
of
guys.
I'm in the business of protecting Conor after the Khabib fight.
All MMA media
Man,
does that
you
because
want-
he's good
hey,
for your
dude.
bottom line.
You want to see Conor sticking around, you know, the UFC?
Yeah,
You do not put him against Justin Gaethje.
that's
man.
his problem to bear, not mine.
I suppose, but I don't know. I'm look. I wouldn't hate it. I would watch it. I think as a fight alone is a fantastic
Dude,
matchup.
this like
But I think Conor needs a tune-up, man. Conor needs to win,
this
and I don't think Justin Gaethje fight is a fight for him to win.
this paternalistic
maybe.
instinct everybody has for Conor that they don't give to anybody
Yeah.
else. I'm a little bit over it.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. It'd be good. It'd be
Yeah.
better for business long term. Don't care.
Yeah,
Don't
I
care.
think part of me, there's a part of me that likes the boxing way, the way they do things. So I think, you know, a Nate Diaz fight would have been amazing. An Anthony Pettis fight would have been amazing. Look, a Gaethje fight is good as well, but down the line, like let him get some pop, you know, behind him. But I mean, if that's the way they go, I wouldn't hate it. But back to
Problem
the
is
question.
in UFC you can't get true
yeah.
tune-ups. A true tune-up is when you get like a jobber that they give you.
No, there's no true tune-ups. That's right, 100%. But there are some better matchups than others.
Yes, Conor versus Cowboy, probably more favorable to Conor than Gaethje. I can agree to that.
I think that was a fight to make. To be honest,
Oh, you're a hater.
Yes, I am a
You're a
hater. Dude,
hater.
I'm a hater. I'm a hater, 100%. I'm with you with all the reasons you mentioned of why you like Ferguson versus Cerrone. If you're a true MMA fan, there's nothing to hate about it. But what I do hate is that at the end of the day, one of these guys is going to have to lose. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like, dude, I tweeted out Tony Ferguson. People might not know this, but like Tony Ferguson, if he beats Cerrone, he's going to be on a 12-fight win streak that spans 6 years. And still, he hasn't fought for the real 155-pound belt. I think that's insane. I think this man has done enough to deserve a title shot. And as I said, you know, last show, if he's good on money, because this is how he makes money, I would love for him just to wait it out. Look, Poirier or Khabib might not show up in September. He can just easily slide in there and end up fighting for the real belt. And if none of them, you know, end up getting hurt and they actually do fight, just get the winner, you know, early next year. Like, you've done enough, man. Don't put it on the line. Because you know if you lose this to Cerrone, he's going to be out of that conversation. He's going to be 2 or 3 wins away, man. And that's not fair. That's not fair. And Cerrone's dangerous, man. Cerrone's game. So I don't want to see
you
Tony
want to
Ferguson.
protect Conor, but
I want to protect Tony Ferguson because he's done enough, man. He's done enough. He's done it all.
He's not going to.
Dude, he cleared the entire division.
He should have got a title
without
shot a long time ago. He's not
Yes.
in that space. This is about as good as he's going to get given the circumstances.
I suppose,
Let
yeah.
him fight it out, bro. Let him fight
Man,
it
if
out.
he loses, if he loses and then never gets a title shot, that'd be one of the
yeah,
saddest things in MMA.
I agree, but MMA is sad. So
That's true. That is very true.
MMA
It's
is
a very
very
sad
sad.
sport. Actually, I left UFC 237 kind of depressed. I was like, Jesus.
oh, not me.
Really? A lot of sad things. All right, I think that's the next a perfect segue.
Last one because
to our
I gotta
next
go.
question.
I gotta get this sheetrock out of my nostril.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about Anderson Silva.
Oh God.
Hey, Luke, Danny, it's Nino from Washington Township, New Jersey. I had a question for you. What do you think Anderson Silva should do after this fight? Do you think Anderson Silva should retire? And if so, who would you like to see him fight for a retirement fight? What do you think makes sense for his way out the door? Thank you.
Who's next, bro?
Well, first of all, let's see how bad the damage is. Number one. All right. But like, if it's a torn ACL, I mean,
Bruh.
what are we doing? And you see his Instagram post.
No.
So
What'd he post?
Jeremy Cruz translated it, but basically, like you know, if you fall down, get up, don't quit. It's like, dude, your body is literally quitting on you.
Yo, him and BJ, two of the most
Like,
positive.
your body
people in
is
the world.
quitting on you.
Yeah.
You know, it's like these guys who've done so many. You know, I'll walk something back I used to believe, Danny. And
Yeah.
I'm not saying this is the case with Anderson. I know the question was about Anderson, but we
Uh-huh.
talked about it with BJ. I used to believe it was like these guys who hang on too long. People are like, oh, they're going to damage your legacy. And I used to think that was not true. And my argument was, well, not that it was totally untrue, but overstated. How about that? And my argument was, okay, how are you going to unwind what BJ did? 2 weight class champion before now anybody did it, you know, blowing through Matt Hughes, and then when he was with the Marinovich brothers and all that stuff, you know, beating the Gracies in the way that he did, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't undo that. Those things still happened.
Yeah.
But then when you begin to, like, did you know what BJ Penn's record is? It's 16-14-2. He's nearly a 500 fighter. Yeah, man. It turns out if you do it long enough, you actually can. I don't think Silva is there yet. I don't think he's nearly in the same position as BJ is.
Yeah.
But if he keeps trying, he's going to find himself there before we even know it.
For sure. And there's talks of him signing an extension deal with the UFC.
I know. I couldn't believe
Look,
it.
This is a weird one because going into the Adesanya fight, I mean, you knew my thoughts. I was like, look, I think Silva's still a top 15 middleweight, right?
By the way, and he looked okay in this fight.
He looked okay. Yeah, he did. But, like, I don't know, something about him just being on the ground, wincing in pain, grabbing his leg, and then just remembering, what happened with him when he fought Chris Weidman just makes me feel uneasy, man. I'm down to watch him fight maybe a couple more times, but, like, there's definitely something to that Legends division. If he's going to fight some other old dude, you know what I'm saying? Don't be fighting Jared Cannonier, who's like built, and just looks like a killer,
Dude, correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't Jared Cannonier the guy who, like, with crazy eyes marched down Ion Kutelaba?
Oh, yeah.
People slept on the Killer Gorilla. Dude, he's an insane person. Dude. He's an insane person. And I say that as a compliment.
Yeah.
Jared Cannonier is a wild man. And, dude, can I say shouts to Jared Cannonier? I get so sick of these American fighters. I love Brazil, but people are like, oh, they're great sports fans. No, they're nationalists. Let's call that what they are. They're nationalists. And that's fine, but that's what they are. So if you're a Brazilian, they've got your back to the end of the earth. You could be anything else, and they're going to wish cancer upon you and your family. That is who they are.
Die.
They're going to literally say, we hope you die, right? You're going to die. So for him to get out there and then to drink in the booze, I was at there fist pumping and donkey kicking in my home studio, and then to tell the audience that he didn't respect them. Yes, thank you, Jared Cannonier. I get so tired of these American fighters going down there. I love you, Brazil. Meanwhile, they're throwing bags of urine and coins at him, telling him to get out of the cage. No, forget it. I'm not saying you have to go the Colby Covington route. We have to call them filthy animals. But stop genuflecting before them. They don't want your praise.
I guess when fighters do that, they want to be cool. So they usually, learn a couple words and say,
obrigado, Brazil.
Yeah. But, like, look, I kind of like what Jared Cannonier said. Like, straight up, he was like, yo, if you don't respect me, I don't respect you. So, F you. Kind of like the Al Quinta route.
Which was in Fairfax, Virginia. Good for Al, too. They were booing him for no reason.
Yeah.
He had every right to say that.
Bro, he fought his ass off. Like, there's no you know what I'm saying?
Do you remember
that was the judge's call. You know what I'm saying? That was on Anderson Silva's leg. The dude went in there and fought.
Pop quiz. Who did Al Quinta beat in Fairfax to get booed?
Wasn't it Masvidal?
It was Jorge Masvidal.
Yeah, Jorge Masvidal.
Who he beat, and he gets booed. How is that his fault? And by the way, Jorge's a really good fighter. So, yes. Thank you.
I think if you're a fan and you're booing, I understand the frustration, but don't take it out on the fighters, man. They go in there and to perform, and that's what they do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Unless there's something dirty, all right, fine. Like, there's something there. But if the guy just goes in there or girl goes in there just to fight and does their job, like, leave him alone.
And did Cannonier talk trash to Spider before the fight?
No, not at all.
No,
nothing. Respectful.
The fight just happened the way it happened.
Yeah.
And you're gonna boo the guy?
Yo, I told you on the MMA beat. I think wherever this goes, if Cannonier loses, like however the fight went, I don't think it was gonna be like, oh wow, look at Jared Cannonier, he beat Anderson Silva. I thought it was gonna be the other way around, like, oh my God, look at Anderson Silva. At this point, if Anderson Silva gets matched up with those type of fighters, that's the type of narrative that's going to continue leaving every fight. If he loses, of course.